All right, good morning, 3DS students, ET207 students, I should say. Want to show you a little bit about the testing coming up. Remember that you are going to have the opportunity to take the midterm and the final as part of this course. The midterm and the final will be CSWA Part 1 and CSWA Part 2. So first I want to show you a couple places you should probably think about using some of your time to go to and to prepare for this test. Don't get me wrong, the assignments that you are doing in this class are going to prepare you well for taking that exam, but I do believe that there's some prep work that you're going to want to do on your own, and there's some really good content out there to do that. So from Google here, if you just typed in CSWA practice exam, right? You have a bunch of different resources available to you, and I encourage you to clarify this search a little bit and go CSWA practice parts, maybe, right? Because you're going to be asked to do two parts. One's going to be a revolve in part 1, and one's going to be a regular part in part 1, and then you're going to have to do an assembly in part 1. So anyway, CSWA practice parts. And if you go to images here, there are a bunch of parts that quite frankly are parts that they have on the actual test and are still using today. Now, I wanted to make you aware that this content is here, right? And not make any surprises that this would be out here. But all of this is phenomenal content, very helpful content for you. I encourage you to grab some of these parts, download them, practice them, because the more exercise you get at using the software, the more times you challenge yourself with building parts, the better off you are going to be on the test. And remember, you do need to know how to do a revolve. So I would, extrude, cut, and revolve are really the main, in creating a fully defined sketch, are the main things that you need to know for over half of the exam. And the other half is with regards to assemblies. So anyway, CSW practice parts. The other thing, you can go up to Google and go CSWA, practice assemblies. And if you click on that, these are all assemblies that are great practice. If you dig into like GrabCAD, Thingiverse, 3D Content Central, some of these others, you're going to be able to find practice assemblies that you can download the actual parts, and all you need to do is the assembly aspect. The exam will be the same way. It will provide you with all of the parts. You just simply download those parts and put them together the way that the test is asking you to put them together. And then they'll say something like, okay, if you have it all locked down and this distance is 12, what is this distance over here? So mechanically, you can just answer that next distance and go on to the next question. And then they might say, okay, well, move X to 15 now instead of 12. What's the new angle of this part because the distance of X changed? So that is really the main points I wanted to get across with this this video here. And I'm about 4 minutes in, so I'm going to take about 3 or 4 more minutes. I'm going to show you where to go to actually take the test, what you need to be able to download, the tester client that you need to download in order to take the test, and then you should have everything you need to know to start to prepare for Part 1, which is the midterm exam, and Part 2, which is the final exam. And then next week I'm probably going to be showing you guys a few things with regards to the course project, the semester project, just an overview of it. So going on to Part 2 of what I wanted to explain here was, where do you go to take the test? So I'm going to type in SolidWorks Certification Center. And right there it is, exactly how I said it, SolidWorks Certification Center. I'm going to go back to all here, and it comes up as 3D Experience. This needs just a little bit of explanation. SolidWorks Corporation is almost 30 plus years old. It was sold to Dassault a bunch of years ago, but about 3 or 4 years ago, Dassault, a French company, and again the largest manufacturing software in the world, right? They changed their name from 3D Solid from SolidWorks certification. I'm sorry. They changed their name from SolidWorks to 3D Experience. And the reason they did that is they started becoming much more cloud-based, and they started to get into a couple of ways in which they are allowing engineers to work, across the globe on a single project, right? So they became much more cloud-based. They have a cloud base of software and so forth, and they have a whole bunch of other softwares that kind of come together in Dassault, the big parent company, SolidWorks being, one of the biggest softwares within that. So long and short of it is, I typed SolidWorks Certification Center, but they all now call it 3D Experience. No different than the SolidWorks World Conference that I went to for 20 plus years is now called 3D Experience Conference. But anyway, you go into 3D Experience, and it's going to launch this website, right? And over in the corner, and up in this corner right here, is first a login and also a download tester client. You are going to be required to download this client and make yourself an account. You must use your UWGB email address. It's the only way that you can get vouchers. I will give you a voucher to take both pieces of the test. Those vouchers, if you weren't a student, are $100 a piece. Obviously, you don't pay that. You'll get those for free. So that's a couple $100 worth of value for you to be able to take these tests and end up with a certification at the end of the course if you pass these tests. So anyway, what you need to do is you need to click on Download Tester Client. And once you download it, it's going to come up in the corner here. Once it's fully downloaded, I'm waiting for it. I'm going to show you what you have to do here. This is going to be an actual install on the computer. Whether you're working on a computer at the college, whether on UWGB campus or the Sheboygan campus, you'll still have to download this software to take the test. Or if you're doing it on a laptop, I strongly recommend doing it on a PC, preferably a 2-screen PC. You definitely need a 3-button mouse. You definitely want to have a stable, very stable internet connection for the entire test, and a powerful internet connection. You're asking to download files and everything in this, so you say, I agree to this. You say install. And once you go and get to the install, one of the first questions it's going to ask you is what language do you want to take the test in, which I find pretty darn cool. And I wish I would have ensured that, there it is. So here's where you hit continue. I'm going to use English here. It's going to launch the installer. You have to put all of your information in here, name, address, email address. Again, make sure it's your UWGB email address, and you're going to end up with an account here. Then, when you want to take the test, you'll be able to do so. And I'll be able to provide you a code. I'll be probably be emailing that code to you. That code will actually be automatically part of the software. That's changed. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm going to say I already have an account. I'm going to show you what this looks like quick. I'm going to use one of my accounts here. No. No. How about
hello, anybody home? Yo.
All right, and then the next thing you're going to need to do is go in and go like this, right? So now I'm in, and in this case, you would have a voucher here that you can see there's a free exam here. This is the sample CSWA exam that you can take. And there's a sample CSWP exam, the professional exam, which is 3 pieces, okay? But in this case, the CSWA exam, free voucher for you. And then all these other ones have no credit applied because no one has given you a voucher to take those, right? But in this case, as I offer that voucher to you, you will be able to see that credit. We used to have to type it up here, but now you'd basically just click on it, like I just clicked on the CSWA practice exam, and I encourage you to take this in a few weeks. You know, probably a little early to take it yet, but if you go ahead and do that, and you go like this, CSWA practice exam, this is exactly how you would start your test. I would make sure SolidWorks is open, I'd make sure my units are set correctly, I'd make sure it's functioning, ready to go, and then I would go ahead and I would hit start exam. It's going to give you this warning. And you say, yes, I want to go ahead and start the exam. And it launches the exam. You have to agree to this. Launches the exam. Here you go. This is part 2 of the exam. You're going to get 3 5-point questions. But anyway, you answer this question. You answer. I'm not going to answer. I'm just going to go through and show you now. Okay, and you'll be able to take this practice exam. So you need to go ahead and build this part. Once it's built, with those exact dimensions right there, they ask you, what is the mass of this? So you have to go apply a mass. Go ahead and look online if you don't know how to apply a mass, but you go do that over in your feature manager. Up in the top of the feature manager is where you do that. You apply 1060 aluminum alloy, whatever material. In this case, you can see it's AISI 1020 steel, right? So then you put in A, B, and C, have to be right here, A, B, and C, that's the depth of the extrude. Get all those dimensions right, and your mass is going to be one of these 3 exactly, okay? You say, okay, it's exactly 118.93. Next question, they ask you to make a couple of different arbitrary changes with A, B, and C. Then once you have those created, you have to fill the mass in. Actually type your mass in like I just did there. Then you go to the next question and they make yet some more changes to it. They take a notch out here, a notch out there. So you have to have a little design intent built in, right? A, B, and C are going to change again. You put that new number in and you're off to the next question. Actually, this is the second part. You make a couple more changes with that, with this pocket. And here is the assembly. You notice how they have a zip file where you can actually download the folder with all of the parts in it. So you need to be able to go in and do that on the test. They ask you to get it all put together and tell you or ask you what the center of mass is. You type the exact center of mass, and that can be easily grabbed by the same thing, going in and doing a mass properties. Check the mass properties of it. Instead of looking for the mass of it, you're looking for the center of mass. And it'll give you that exact center of mass, X, Y, and Z. And then you get to the end of the test, and it says go ahead and end the exam after 90 minutes of taking the exam, right? And you should all look at answered. You can go back to questions, and you can go previous and forward, okay? And check to make sure you've got them all done. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit end exam so it shows you what this looks like. You really want to finish? Yes. And it doesn't look like I did very well. I answered one of the 5-point questions correctly, but hopefully you would get the minimum score or better, and you would have 1/2 of the exam complete. Okay? So that is, in a nutshell, showing you where to go online to find practice parts, practice assemblies, and then where to go online to download the tester and take the practice exam. All good things on this type of class that you have to do some of those things independently. I'm going to show you one more thing. CSWA test prep, or tips and tricks. Okay, encourage you to do that. And here are top 10 CSWA exam tips to help you pass the test on the first try. Read through some of this. This is a very good company, Solid Professor. There's others in here. You know, how to pass the CSWA exam. There's a lot of resources out there. And the neat thing about this is here, 12 and a half tips for passing the CSWA. all really good